What is going on, eaters and feeders? This is a one of my impromptu live streams where it's meant to motivate you guys. I want you guys, to use this as a reminder, regardless of what's going on right now. I'm sure that you guys have a lot, on your plate. It's December. We've got holidays. We've got the new year coming up. A lot of you who are watching me are either in the process of starting a business. You've got a business, you're trying to grow it. Trust me, I know far too well what it's like to be in all of your shoes. So don't look at this as me judging you. My to-do list only seems to grow. No matter how many things I whack here and there and slash off, there always seems to be a multiplication of the items that are on there, to the point where I've now become at peace with the fact that it'll never be done. I don't know what would happen if I ever finished my entire to-do list with life. There's always going to be something else, right? But my main message right now is, I don't know if this is a quote that I came up with. It's I'm normally pretty good at attributing quotes to other people when I know they're from other people. But I remember years ago, I came up with this notion of you can make excuses or progress, not both. So let that sink in. You can make excuses or progress, not both. One thing that I've become exquisitely aware of over the last several years, and I'm constantly reminding myself, is the fact that we are in control of our story. We are in control of our perception of, how we experience different situations in life. And we can tell ourselves whatever, not only ourselves, but other people, whatever narrative we want. If we want to tell ourselves that we're too busy, we'll use that as an excuse to not get things done, because obviously we're too busy. It's okay that I don't get this done. How could I get this done? I'm too busy. I'm here just putting this out into the universe for you as much as for myself, to remind you that you are in control of the story that you write. With that control comes the responsibility of writing it the way that you want the story to come out. Right now, I'm sure there's a lot of people. You look at The Rock, look at Kevin Hart, look at all these celebrities, these people we know of, Grant Cardone, all these people who are known for taking action, doing amazing things, and doing a lot of stuff that if you were to have gone back 5, 10, 20 years and set those expectations for them, it seems like it'd be something that's impossible. They're overcoming amazing odds, and they're not doing it by telling themselves that they're too busy or they can't do it. And a lot of this stuff seems like common sense. It seems very banal. But at the end of the day, the majority of the people on this planet, 99.99999%, will not realize their dreams, even if they're very, I don't want to say mundane things, but very obtainable things. They will not be realized just because we are all busy, way too busy, creating excuses for ourselves instead of pursuing the things that we want, the things that we need, the things that we aspire and desire to have. You cannot change your reality without changing your mentality. So we've got 2021 coming up. For those of you who are, explicitly following me for meal prep advice and all that, this is going to be a huge year. I've already got another video where I go on about how much I believe that 2021 is going to be a major year for the meal prep industry. 2020 was a great proving ground, really tested the model, showed that it's shutdown proof, it's economy proof, it's scalable. There's people who are jumping into this and running this, out of, makeshift operations. This is an amazing opportunity for people to pivot and either do this as a side hustle or as a full-on business. Fit Food Fresh, my company, doing millions of dollars a year. So and there's companies that are doing way more. Freshly, as I have in another episode, $1.5 billion they just got bought out for. It's a 6-year-old company, $1.5 billion. That's insane for something that has tangible goods. That's normally something, that's a figure that you would see on like tech companies, $1.5 billion. So that stuff is all, I think that's going to be surpassed in the future. Nestle saw the opportunity. They invested in Freshly because they know there's an opportunity. 2021 is going to be an explosive year for the meal prep industry, but you need to be preparing for it now. I always laugh at how many people wait for, the new year to start the resolution. I know people who are planning on starting diets in January, but they're eating like crap right now. And it's like, you're waiting for this journey to start. You can start that journey right now, but we're waiting for the calendar to flip. You've got to change how you enter that year. You got to bring that energy in with you. You've got to finish this year strong, and you've already got to be in that flow. It's so much easier to stick with it if you've already been doing it. If you start your resolutions in November or December, and you don't wait for that arbitrary flop of the calendar to get going, you've already got that momentum. You're blowing into January, whether it's a health goal, you're trying to work out, you're trying to eat right, you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to, get back into school, self-education, whatever you're telling yourself that you're going to do next year, start now. Create that momentum now. There's so many things in life. I love this analogy. Another thing that I came up with years ago, and it's so applicable in so many different things. It originally came to me with, I not to get too personal, but I was diagnosed with depression when I was younger. And I was on medication and everything, and I've gotten into philosophy, so I'm no longer on medication. I figured out a way to manage it. But the analogy that I got, and it applies to business, is it's like, and a lot of things with life are like this. Imagine taking two sticks and you're rubbing in together to start a fire. That takes a lot of energy. There's a lot of points where you're going to look at that and you're going to be like, there's no fire. I don't even have smoke going. Like, it feels a little hot, and I've done this before. I went to a summer camp in the Everglades here in Florida, and they showed us how much time it really takes to make fire with sticks. That's something that we had to do. And I'm sure anybody who's been a Boy Scout has done this as well. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. You will break a sweat, and you got to be careful not to drip. Otherwise you'll undo everything that you're working for. But it takes a lot of effort. And then you get some smoke, and that's a little bit of hope. But even then, you might lose it. It's still, nothing's guaranteed, and you're working on it. You're working on it. You're working on it. And eventually you got a little amber, and then you got to feed it the right way, and eventually grow that to a little bit of a flame, then give it some kindling, a little bit bigger, pieces of wood. And then gradually you're building up to eventually having a log, and you can have a log on there, but it takes a lot of heat, and there's a lot of buildup to get to that point where you have a log on there. But the beauty of having that log on there is it's more self-sustaining. That log is going to continue to burn, and it takes less effort. You're not going to have to sit there and keep rubbing the sticks. But getting to that point takes an enormous amount of effort, and you have to be consistent with it. You can't do a couple of rubs and then stop and then come back, and do a couple of rubs and then stop and come back. So as it relates to the depression, I noticed that when I stuck with consistent, like feeding my brain with positive things and feeding my soul with positive things, it was a long process. It wasn't overnight. I'd have a depressive episode or something, and it seemed like I was in a hole that I couldn't get out of. And I know a lot of you are starting a business, or maybe you're in a situation where you're neck deep in either a job you hate, or maybe you've lost your job, or whatever your situation is. You're overweight, you feel like you're unhealthy. It doesn't matter. It feels like there's no despair. There's no hope, and you're in the pits of despair, and you got to rub those sticks and put a lot of faith into it, and pull that faith from inside. And eventually you have that log, but there's a danger with that log as well, because you can become so complacent with that log, because now it's not taking any effort, that you go and you get busy doing some other stuff, and you stop feeding that fire. You stop watching that fire, and you maybe are riding off of all that momentum, all that energy that you've put into it. That's what you're riding off of for a while. And if that log dies down, that fire dies down, you can still catch it back up. You catch it before it goes completely out. It's easier to build back up. But if it goes completely out, you lose everything that you've put into it. And then you're back to rubbing sticks again. And that is such a defeating place to be. So like I said, I came up with that analogy through depression, and I've noticed that it applies in so many things in life. Working out, it's the same way. You can get to a place physically where you don't feel like you have to go to the gym. Like I remember there's been times where like I got to a great place physically, really strict diet, really strict workout regimen. Then I go on vacation, I drink, I eat like crap, and I'm like, man, I still got a six pack. Especially like I remember going on, like, in my younger years, some trips where there's a lot of drinking and you wake up and you're like, man, I feel like I'm in better shape than when I'm, at home being disciplined. Well, that's because you're like dehydrated and alcohol's a diuretic. So you're like shredded. But if you don't keep up, if you don't get right back into the gym, you'll find like 3 months later, it doesn't just stay with you. Your body doesn't care about the work that you put in. It matters what you did today. It matters what you did yesterday. Business is the same thing. Mentality is the same thing. It doesn't matter where you've been. It matters what you're currently doing. And a lot of, our reality is a lagging indicator of what we've done. Your physical state right now, whether it's good or bad, isn't based on what you're doing today. It's based on what you've done before. Your bank account, same thing. It's not an indication of what you did today. It's an indication of what's happened before. So whether it's good or bad, that's the past. It has nothing to do with what you're doing today. If you're slacking today, what you're going to be facing, the reality that you're looking forward to in the future, it's not going to be good. If you're doing good today, what you're looking at in your bank account or on the scale or where your business is at, that doesn't matter. Separate that. Separate the present from the past. Keep the future in mind. I didn't want to get on here for too long. Just wanted to do some quick motivation for you guys. I know a lot of you guys are super, super busy with your businesses. I know. I know you're tired and there's a lot of decisions being made and you feel like you don't have any brain power left. A lot of you guys who haven't started yet, not to, bum you out, but that's the reality of the business. You have to have that mentality. You have to expect that. That is what you've chosen in your reality. Whatever you're facing right now, you've chosen to be here to experience it. And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. The struggle is beautiful. The success is beautiful. Having unlimited success and everything easy it would be boring. You would be miserable. Trust me. It seems like that doesn't make any sense, but look at how many people have so much money and they're never fulfilled. The external will never be lasting fulfillment without the challenge. So embrace the challenge, savor the challenge, enjoy the challenge, be grateful that you have the challenge to experience, and dig down and answer it. Hit it back. I appreciate the comments I'm getting. Glad you guys are appreciating it. I'm going to jump off here. This is actually, I wanted to be on for like 5 minutes, but I go on my little rants. You guys, if there's something I can do, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. If I could do the work for you, I would. I've obviously got, like I said, my endless to-do list. But if there's anything that I can do, especially the meal prep related stuff, if there's any philosophy, if you're in a down point in your life, mentally, emotionally, I'm not, the guru, but I can point you to some stuff that's helped me. If you're looking for help with the business, I can, let you know what your next steps are, maybe send you some of the videos that I know I've made or give you some pointers on that. If there's something I can do to help other humans, man, that is such a fulfilling thing. And if you are, that's one other thing I'll leave you with. If you are in a point where you feel like you're not making progress, you're kind of depressed or down on yourself, reach out and help somebody. That feels so good. It gives you that motivation and it reminds you of how powerful you are. Even if it's just something is like cheering somebody up with the text. You guys have probably heard me say it before. Reach out and tell someone you care for them, you appreciate that they're in your life. And just knowing that you're making their day better, even if you can't change their situation, you change the way they feel. It's a good feeling. I think human beings are made to make each other feel good and to help each other. That's why it feels so good on both sides of it. When you hurt somebody, it doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make them feel good. Both people lose. But when you help somebody, it makes them feel good, makes you feel good. Isn't that funny how that math works? It's multiplication. So reach out. If you're in a bad spot, help somebody else because someone's always in a worse spot. And I do offer private consulting. Shay, I see that question there in the comments. I do. You can book with me through through mealprepbiz101.com, and I do one-on-one consulting. I also got a private group. Got, where is it? Some of this stuff listed here. We got free software. So if you are looking to start the meal prep stuff, man, I've got a free boot camp. It's a good place to start. I've got an ebook. I've got tons of video, obviously, on my YouTube. And if you want some specific questions being asked, I'll make myself available. There's actually, during the pandemic, I've also been doing a discount on that stuff. So there is a discount. There's a discount coupon or whatever for half off on the consultation. significant discount on the private group, and all that other stuff. So check that stuff out, Shay. Email me if you have any questions or have any trouble finding any of that stuff. I'd love to help any of you guys out. And yeah, man, just rise up, help somebody. You know, if you, like I said, if you are in a point where you feel like you're hitting against the wall, sometimes it's good to pull away from that, kind of let that kind of fade into the background, focus on somebody else's problem, focus on something else that you can do. One weird thing that I got into, I didn't really get into it sustainably, but I picked up like, not really knitting. What would it be? I guess just sewing stuff. I sewed stuff. This was years ago. I got into sewing stuff. And what I realized, and it wasn't something I stuck with, but what I realized is as an entrepreneur, we deal with so much abstract stuff. In the human brain, you have to understand it hasn't been thinking abstract for a long period of time. It's not used to thinking in the abstract. So as far as like, especially as an entrepreneur with so much stuff being abstract and we can't see an actual result of the work that we're putting in, the effort that we're putting in, sometimes it's healthy to do something that you can see a visual representation of your progress in the real world. What I mean by that is, like I said, I mentioned sewing. What I found, the satisfaction from sewing was the fact that after 4 hours or whatever I'd put into sewing something together, this was for an ex-girlfriend, that's how I got into it. But I started making like seat covers and putting like elastic in and sewing the band and getting this special material and making seat covers for my office and all this other stuff. It's that physical mark of progress after 4 hours. And I did construction years ago. When you're doing just spreadsheets and emails and Google campaigns and Facebook campaigns and making decisions and all this stuff, at the end of the day, you're just like, man, I'm busy and I'm beat and my brain is fried, but I can't look at anything that I've done. And it feels so defeating. So as silly as it sounds, unplugging from that, letting things shut down, shift gear for just a little while, take an hour and do something that gives you a physical mark of progress or something external. Make somebody else feel good. Get outside, get away from your screen, get outside, and hitting the gym works as well. You get those endorphins going. That makes you feel good. But go clean like one room in your house. Go clean one bathroom. You don't have to clean your entire house, but go do something. Go hang that picture that you've been meaning to hang. So you're like, 5 minutes worth of work, and now I've got a result. I've got something I can point to. I feel like I've accomplished something. Like I wash the dishes. I tell my fiance I'm in charge of all the dishes. Why? Because I can look at a clean sink and be like, I know what I did. And sometimes when there's mornings where I'm like, I don't know where to start. I've got a million things to do and I don't know where to start. As much as I feel like I need to jump into something, I need to dive into emails, I need to be out the door, I will take 30 minutes to do a sink full of dishes, wipe down all the counters, do all that stuff, and like get that bleach smell going, get the disinfectant smell going, because there's something therapeutic to that. So if you guys are at that point, those are some tips. Like I said, the main point of this whole thing is you are in control of the story that you're writing. You are the narrator. You are writing this. Do you want to be the victim of your situation? Do you want to be the person who's coming up against these challenges, hitting them head on, and just relentlessly pursuing? And there's no stress, there's no pressure to be done with everything. Like I said, I've come to peace with the fact that I will die with an unchecked off to-do list. That's part of it. Like the Japanese bodysuits, those tattoos that they get, the philosophy that I learned years ago, supposedly, I don't know in in-depth detail, but the philosophy behind that is they are never complete. They're never done. Once they finish every square inch on their body, they go back over. So that's how life is. We are never done. You are never done. Don't let the mounting to-do list beat you up. Just keep whacking away at it. And like I said, if you need to do something externalized to just recharge your brain, do that. Well, I've gone way over the time I intended to. Check out the links, reach out to me. Let me know if there's something that I can do to help you out. But 2021 is going to be here like this. Like it's coming up so fast. The holidays are right around the corner. We're already between that Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's kind of sprint. And we've got, Hanukkah and everything else going on. I know you guys are busy. Just unplug, focus, maybe write down a to-do. When was the last time you did a to-do list? That helps put things into perspective. Whatever works for you guys, I hope it's working. And if it's not, step back and try to think what you're going to have to change. Again, you can't change your reality without changing your mentality. How do you want 2021 to be? Start acting right now. All right. Have a good one, guys. Make it impactful. Do good, be good.